This is way worse than we expected, as following a bunch of leaks coming out surrounding Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s contract, whether that be the offer he received, the offer that he requested, and more. A brand new report has dropped from a reporter, a very reputable one, revealing the truth behind who is truly leaking these details and discuss what it means going forward as it pertains to a Vladimir Guerrero Jr. contract extension with the Jays. We're going to break that down and discuss what all this means as the Jays prepare for a lengthy road to an extension over the next few weeks and months into his free agency. So stay tuned for all that in this episode, folks. But before we get into it, if you're a part of that 71% who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Jays content. Your guys' support has been absolutely unbelievable. So if you want to help us towards our big goal of 17,000 subscribers and you're enjoying the daily content, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys again for your continued support. But ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot to go over today. Now, obviously, the Vladimir Guerrero Jr. situation has continued to get crazier and crazier with each day. And it seems like a chronological order every single day. We started with the report getting leaked from John Heyman into Ken Rosenthal into Vladdy, and now we have a new report. And regardless of that, spring training games are still going on. Vladdy's still crushing the ball. It's a lot to go over today. Now, I want to start with a couple of different things. We're going to start with this one here. Now, this happened yesterday afternoon, and this led into a new report that dropped from Keegan himself, revealing some interesting details surrounding a contract extension with the Jays and Vladdy. So Vladimir Guerrero Jr. declined to speak with Toronto media in Dunedin this morning about his contract negotiations. But Blue Jays manager John Schneider did address it, reiterating that Vladdy is focused on the season and handling all of this well. More on that today at MLB.com, which we're going to cover in a minute here. But for the first time, he's been asked about it for the first time in a while, and he declined to speak about it. Now, we know that he came out and said he didn't want anything to be a distraction to the media. He didn't want to be a distraction to his teammates, speaking to the media, all these different things. He said that earlier on, before all these contract negotiations were even going on. And that's what's had fans kind of confused because clearly, or at least we thought, he spoke to the New York Post a couple weeks ago after the February 18th deadline. He's been speaking to the media, revealing a lot of information slowly. You think about the podcast that he was on, going out and speaking about, okay, this is what the Jays are offering me. This is what I want, all these different things. He's been anything but not a distraction. He's been giving a pretty big distraction to this team, or at least as it pertains to the media. Now, we're not inside the clubhouse. We don't know exactly how distracted the team is, though we do know Keegan Matheson was on my videos and on the show earlier in the month and basically came out and said, hey, or late February and said, hey, it's not a big distraction thus far. The players seem to be, handling it fairly well. And he goes out and he's still playing fantastic baseball, which we'll dive into a little later. He's hitting absolute rockets. But here is the big thing. Now, let's go through a little bit of a timeline here from Keegan Matheson's article. Again, this MLB.com article from Keegan Matheson. Make sure to check it out. Information leaks out, and there'll be a link in the description to the article. Information leaks out. This is how it always has worked out and how it always will work, but rarely does a public back and forth truly benefit the parties involved when the ultimate goal is to reach a long-term deal. Recent information made public has not come from the Blue Jays front office, a group that's always been tight-lipped and kept a small circle on major contract negotiations, but everyone involved is still left to deal with this ongoing story in their own ways. While Guerrero declined to speak with the Toronto media on Thursday, John Schneider did address it, and he makes himself as available as any manager in baseball and has been the voice of the team on a laundry list of topics over the years, which he does well, and reiterated Thursday that Guerrero's focus is on the 2025 season. That's it. That's all. Now, if you caught the little piece in there that is extremely interesting and finally, new information, is the second sentence there in the first paragraph. Recent information made public has not come from the Blue Jays front office, a group that's always been tight-lipped. Now, this is where things get interesting because, again, there's someone who quote tweeted this, pointing this out. Shout out to Jen Smith. Recent information made public has not come from the Jays front office. Basically saying, so all the leaks have come from a guy who A, has self-imposed negotiation window that's supposedly now closed, and B, doesn't want this to be a distraction. Yikes. Now, I want you guys to let me know down below. What side of the fence are you on as it pertains to this, right? Because there's a few different ways to go about it. One, he is absolutely being a distraction. I don't think that that's necessarily up for debate as much. That being said, at least a distraction to the media. Who knows how the actual teammates are feeling? From all accounts, they seem to be okay. They seem to be doing fine. But at the end of the day, this is a very interesting thing. And I was on record. I said in the video yesterday, from all these different leaks, let's not forget there was another, leak that happened yesterday, the day before. It started with John Heyman, Ken Rosenthal, and Vladdy coming out and revealing that they're $50 million apart, but $50 million meaning the Jays' current offer is $450 million. after deferrals, and what Vladdy wants is $500 million after deferrals. Now, that was from Shai Davidi. Initially John Heyman came out, and we assumed from the Vladdy side, when Vladdy said, the report came out that the offer from the Jays was 450, and then after that, the report came out that Vladdy wanted 500, and then it was confirmed by Shai Davidi, Ken Rosenthal, all the notable reporters, that the difference is $50 million. Everyone thought that this was maybe the Jays trying to put some pressure specifically on the front office, right? Put some pressure on, the front office putting pressure on Vladimir Guerrero Jr. We thought the leaks were from the front office, but all this time, the leaks aren't from the front office. It seems all of these leaks are either from Vladdy himself or, of course, well, not Vladdy himself, but Vladdy or Vladdy's camp, right? His agent, all those different things, his family, whatever you want to say who the leaks are from. Because Keegan Matheson, who's as tuned in as anybody here, reiterated that it's not made from the Jays side, which makes things very interesting now, because I thought the Jays were maybe leaking some of this. And even in Ben Nicholson-Smith's article and Shai Davidi's article, when they came out, I believe it was Shai Davidi, and said, whether this works or not, it's a way to put pressure on the opposing side. So it's either going to work out or it's going to collapse. It's from not the Jays front office, but Vladdy's side, which makes things a lot more interesting and a bit of a turn. But Schneider came out and did say that he's been good. I think the more the people talk about it, the more it feels he has to talk about it. And talking to him, he's really just focused on this. I know that some things may seem otherwise, but he's just focused on coming here and trying to win every day. And that's an interesting point. He said, I know that some things may seem otherwise. He is referring to the leaks happening, him going on podcasts, all these different things. I don't know what it's like to be in his shoes, but he's handled it very well. And this is where Keegan does a fantastic job of breaking down some of the things. But again, December 22nd, when he had the Spanish interview about, of course, the last offer, which is $340 million. You think back to, a ton of the offers that we've covered on the channel. And you think back to literally 2 or 3 days ago, John Heyman's last week, all these different things earlier in the week. And it's all cultivated now to today, where Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is sitting here after declining, or not, he's sitting here now at spring training after declining to speak with the media. And the storyline was always going to follow Vladdy and the Blue Jays throughout the season, even before the ESPN interview and the Tuesday's leaks. But all that has shined an even brighter light, on Guerrero's pending free agency. There's no hiding from it now. I didn't think the situation, I thought it was going to be, a bit of a bow on it. And then we talk about it later on as the trade deadline approaches, depending on how the Jays are doing in the regular season, whether or not they're going to trade him at the deadline, all these different things. Ladies and gentlemen, that is not the case. This is going to be a story for every single game, every home run Vladdy hits. But after the side that, this has been leaked from Vladdy's side, this just continues to get crazier and crazier. And I don't think that this is going to be something that, fans are going to enjoy. I'm not going to enjoy it. All of us diehard, whether you're a casual, diehard Jays fan, it doesn't matter. This is a pressing issue, and hopefully the Jays can figure it out, because if these aren't getting leaked from the front office, interesting that it gets leaked from Vladdy. Maybe he's more open to signing an extension. He's trying to put pressure on the front office. That's an option as well. There is a world where he's trying to do that, and that, negotiations have been reopened up. We know John Heyman, I covered it in yesterday morning's video, yesterday morning's video, how John Heyman came out and basically said Vladdy wants to be in Toronto, and there's a likelihood an extension gets done. It's going to be interesting to see what happens there. But ladies and gentlemen, let me know down below what your thoughts are on that. One quick note as well. I just wanted to bring this up because this was, trending around Twitter a little bit. And I had a video on Dalton Varsho last night. War is gathered in different ways. That was the kind of the headline of the, the tweet of this here. It is crazy how hopefully, and we'll have multiple videos breaking down some updates, if Dalton Varsho can remain healthy, the things he can do. Corey Seager, by all accounts, is a much better hitter, and to most people, a much better player. But it goes to show, despite having a 47 OPS plus difference, it's a 47% difference, Dalton Varsho managed to have the same amount of F-WAR as, as Corey Seager. And if he can be healthy this year, continue to hit home runs, the sky's the limit for this guy. I just want to throw that out there because I thought that was a very interesting little graphic there to try to, shed some light off of what's been a wild few weeks for the Toronto Blue Jays and Keegan Matheson. But ladies and gentlemen, that'll wrap it up. Let me know down below what your thoughts are. Things are getting absolutely crazy. They're getting out of hand, and we're going to keep you up to date all the way there. Cheers.